Hi, my name is Jen, and this is a simple and straightforward video. Men are not women. Men don't menstruate. Men don't give birth. Men don't have mood swings due to the menstrual cycle. Men do not build muscle or store fat in the same way women do. Men don't think like women. This is not, and I repeat, this is not hate speech. This is logic and common sense. We all know what a woman is. We know it just by looking at her. You can't be born in the wrong body because you are your body. The separation of gender and sex, the questioning of what it is to be a biological woman, is mass psychosis. We know what the differences between man and woman is. If I show you a random picture of a man and a random picture of a woman next to each other, there will be no question of who's who. Length, muscle build, hair growth, voice density, overall size, like for example hands, feet, and head, the way we store fat, the differences in brain size and gray matter within the brain, our genitals, our secondary sex characteristics. We know all of this. In the beginning of the push for gender studies, the general idea was the separation of gender expression and sex. Today, they are one and the same for the postmodernist. Thinking that a man is a woman is a delusion. Saying this does not deny their existence, because the men still exist. They are just not women like they believe that they are. If you want to pop on a dress and change your name, sure, I can't stop you. However, you are not entitled to join women's sports team, use our locker rooms, or enter female-only spaces. These are our spaces. I recently covered a Swedish news story about a man undergoing gender rearrangement in prison and then being allowed to switch over to an all-female facility. A week later, YouTuber Sydney Watson covered the same story and showed examples of many more similar cases. One of these showcases a deranged rapist being allowed in a female prison with his penis intact and then the female inmates. There are more stories of transgender-related madness varying in degrees of stupidity. Let's start with one of the most recent ones, about a boy thinking he's a girl wanting to use the girls' locker room at his high school. "I do not want to see a transgender student naked in the locker room," one female student said. "I feel very uncomfortable, and I feel it's against my rights as a student," said Julia Burka, student athlete. She's a young teenage girl who frequently uses the locker room as she is active in the swimming team. Having to share that space with boys who think they are girls violates her rights to privacy. The teenage years is a time where we are the most uncomfortable and aware of our body. Being a teenage girl in a locker room is uncomfortable enough without penis bearers in the room. The walk from the separate locker room to the gym class was humiliated and made me feel like my school did not recognize me as the girl I am, said Nova Mundane, transgender student. He is not a girl, and he has no right to be in that locker room. It doesn't matter what he feels. He has a penis and a Y chromosome. An interesting aspect to this story is that he had a locker all to himself. When I was a teenager in high school, I would have killed for that opportunity. The school had offered him a solution. Why was that not enough? Why did he have to be in the same room as half-naked and completely naked girls? Because that would make him feel accepted? I don't buy it. Let's look at another case from the sports world. Standing at 6'2" and weighing in at 220 pounds, male to female transgender handballer Hannah Mounsey is dominating at the Women's Asian Championships in Japan. Hannah Mounsey is a massive man, now playing with the girls' Australian handball team. This is what he looks like. Due to Mounsey's weight, height, and testosterone level, he was barred from entering the Australian Football League women's draft last year. Mounsey wrote a piece for The Guardian in September blasting the AFL for their regulations. He noted specifically that the weight regulation is a form of body shaming and a blow to all women, transgender or not. My biggest concern is the fact that weight is being used as one of the key physical measures for possible exclusion. Forget the fact that in a game that has such an emphasis on endurance and speed, being heavy is not necessarily an advantage. And think about the message that it sends to women and girls about their bodies. If you're too big, you can't play. That is incredibly dangerous and backwards, Mounsey said. The entitlement, the sheer narcissism and outrageousness here is so insane to me that it is difficult to put into words. He's actually trying to be some sort of spokesperson for body positivity and talk about women's issues. You are the women's issue. You are taking a spot away from someone else, a hardworking girl who deserves to be in that sports team. You are a potential threat and danger to your teammates. Here's another example. Laurel Hubbard, who looks like this. Hubbard, who competed in New Zealand in men's weightlifting before her transition in her 30s, won 2 golds and a silver in 3 of the women's heavyweight categories at the games in Samoa earlier this month. This is an opportunist man. I will link more examples of this in the bio. Let's go on to the next category. You've probably all heard of Desmond is Amazing at this point, a child whose mom has convinced him that he is a drag queen and has now gotten a bunch of media for performing in drag, which is and has always been sexual. Performing in drag means to exaggerate the female expression and to enhance the sexual features. It is not meant for kids. He was last year seen on video dancing on stage and stripping down to a belly shirt and taking money from grown men. He should not even have been at that venue, much less perform there. In Sweden, there has been a clear transgender epidemic in young teenagers. It is being called late onset gender dysphoria. There is an overrepresentation of girls. 2008, there were 28 girls in the ages 10 through 19 treated for gender dysphoria. In 2017, that same age range had 536 girls treated. The consequences of this have not been properly assessed, and the procedures are irreversible. A documentary on the subject was released earlier this year and reveals that the diagnosis is given out on a whim. Basically, if a child claims to be the other gender, they just are, and the transition begins. This is seen all around the world. Boys and girls, too young to vote, too young to drink, get a tattoo or serve their country, too young to pay taxes, or basically make any decisions of their own, are being allowed to make life-changing decisions only in this field. Why? Why are we allowing women and children to be put in harm's way under the almighty sword and power of social justice? Like the saying goes, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The inspiration for this video came from Posey Parker. Be sure to watch her interview with Trigonometry. I will link it in the description. She sounds like the devil in the ears of woke leftists, but she is saying the honest truth. She also brings up a point about it being mainly men transitioning late in life with wives and kids. Posey finds it perverse and disrespectful to their family. It usually completely tears up the family unit and has devastating repercussions for both the kids and the wife. Why are so many men choosing to leave their traditional role as a family man to live out some fantasy of what they think it means to be a woman? How do they know how it is to be a woman? How can they know what it is to be a woman? I think we need more voices telling it like it is. Men cannot be women. This is not a deep dive into the topic, as it would be far too long, and it is a very wide topic. Let me know if there's any specific cases that you'd like me to cover, or if maybe you want me to deep dive into the situation in Sweden regarding this. This video is going to be completely demonetized, probably, if YouTube even allows it to stay up. If you want to support my work, it is immensely appreciated through PayPal or Swish. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!